What's going on, everybody? Eric Lindquist at Stokastic here on the Odd Chopper channel, coming to you with another edition of Lindy's Leans Likes Locks. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell. Goes a long way for me on this video. Goes a long way for you. That way you become a prisoner for great content is going live here at our little neck of the YouTube woods. Split it up a little bit there in the intro, but we're going to persevere because, friends, we've got 6 games, and last week, it was the second best week that I've had on Lindy's Leans Likes and Locks, period. I didn't really miss a lot. So a lot of people want to look at the lock on Tuesday from Utah, and I get that. But how about the other 6 that hit? Seems good. Seems pretty good. But you don't want to get arrogant in this business because you know what happens? Pride cometh before a fall. Therefore, friends, we're not going to fall. We're going to, or we'll fall up. It'd be good too. I don't know how that works with gravity. But anyway, we've got 6 NBA games. Looking forward to it here. Maybe it's like a Dune 2 thing you could do. Yeah, but Bet365, we'll talk about them. We'll talk about the stuff down in the comment section below. I think you guys had a great weekend. I hope you had a great weekend wherever you are. Be safe, be merry, be humble, and then also brag when you smash. Let's do that, friends. Hey, producer Jacob, hi. Hello. That's really all I have here to start. Let's get to the picks. The day begins here with Memphis visiting Brooklyn. Brooklyn, hey, they got off the schneid in a pretty meaningful way there because things were not great. And then they decided Mikal Bridges, hey, you can go out and score 38. That would be useful. I saw a lot of people on Twitter, actually, that ended up firing up the old 30-plus points, 35-plus points at, plus 700, plus 1,500. Looks nice in hindsight. And maybe going forward, don't do that, actually, because I guarantee that those numbers will not be identical to what they were. But, hey, obviously, I'd wished I'd been on that, just like I wish I had set up my camera a little bit better there from the get-go. But we continue on. Memphis here, friends. They are so, gosh, darn bad. I think you know that at this point. Jordan Goodwin, Luke Kennard, Vince Williams, Santi Aldama, Lamar Stevens. That's going to be your starting 5 more than likely because you still have Triple J who's going to be out for this one. I mean, this is just the worst roster in basketball right now. Again, Jaren Jackson Jr., doubtful. Zaire Williams going to be out here now with that back injury for this game. They're horrible to try to break down. Yeah, you know what, Mikal Bridges? We're going to ride this one in some capacity because, again, probably don't want to phrase it like that again, but definitely like seeing him play well. Definitely like seeing this team starting to get healthier with the exception of Cam Thomas. But Ben Simmons is questionable with that leg injury. He can still be a good defensive piece here for this team. But overall, just feels nice to see a pulse out of Mikal Bridges and Dennis Schroeder fitting nicely into the group so far here. Been in double digits at 4 straight. Been in the starting unit now here recently and 34 minutes against Atlanta. Atlanta is where the players play and they ride on the things like every day, but it's also where you go to get right. So Brooklyn, maybe they got right, maybe they didn't here. But overall, this is more of just me looking at this starting lineup. I want to say it one more time. Jordan Goodwin, Luke Kennard, Vince Williams, Santi Aldama, Lamar Stevens. I get that Brooklyn isn't good. I get that Brooklyn is actually pretty bad. But they're 8.5 here. I'm happy to be laying that. Again, this is just the worst roster currently constructed. Well, not even constructed because everybody's hurt. It's just the currently worst roster in basketball. And that's saying something because we got some poo-poo platters around the entire association at the moment. Brooklyn minus 8.5. First bet I made, mainly because it was the first game of the night. I was working through this in chronological order. But that's beside the point. Brooklyn minus 8.5. Get the card right. I'm done talking. Let's talk about this one because there's something I thought I would get to here. The Clippers taking on Milwaukee. And shout out to the Clippers. 1-point win, a hard-fought win against my Minnesota Timberwolves here on Sunday. Kind of a bummer. I was watching it as I was, on live before lock. Again, probably don't want to throw these things out there all the time. But again, you can work, you can play, you can ride on the things every day. I already quoted that. I can't do that again. And it's not Atlanta. Clippers +4 taking on the Milwaukee Bucks. I think there's going to be something to mine out of here at some point. One thing I want to throw out there, though, and this is just the timing of the bet. We have timestamps that exist over at Odd Chopper, which we'll talk about in a second as well. But the time age, there are lots of ways that the market is constantly shifting and moving and evolving. And one of it is public money is generally coming in on overs and pushing star players to the top. And in an advantageous spot where if you can stomach it, you should be looking at some unders closer to game time. Now, that's not always the case, and people have gotten sharper. We have people in Odd Chopper utilizing our tools And yeah, we're going to have people moving lines here from time to time. But overall, friends, I'm going to be waiting for this one because I think we're going to get a better price on it closer to tip-off than we would get here right now. Again, I also want to be early to lines, but unders, they're tough for me to stomach, especially when teams are on back-to-backs, because you never really know what kind of news is just going to show up from nowhere here. But Milwaukee, they didn't play on Sunday. The Clippers did. Very difficult spot, I think, for LA. I'm a little bit surprised to see 4 here, but this is some respect considering they just got Paul George back here in this spot. They had Kawhi Leonard play a lot of minutes, put up 32 there. They were down big to Minnesota in that first quarter, came back at the end of that first half, actually won the first half, but we're down 30-18. And then Minnesota, they just shut them down defensively in the second half. Pretty impressive stuff. Forced Rudy Gobert to have to make some decisions with the basketball in his hands. That's not what you want. Anthony Edwards getting constant pressure from Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, not the two defenders you want thrown at you. So Minnesota, I think it was a good learning experience for them, but Clippers, does Paul George play on the back-to-back right away here? I'm not positive. It actually shies me away from doing what I want to do, even though it's a better defender out there. I'm looking at Giannis Antetokounmpo under 31.5 points. I brought it up. I said, star players, get pushing on some overs. I don't think people are going to go screaming to the window to go bet this under, but what I'm nervous about is getting a Paul George or a Kawhi ruled out, and the Clippers end up punting this for whatever reason. Again, they need to keep winning. The West, it's one of those spots where it's still somewhat open for those top 3 teams, Oklahoma City, Minnesota, and LA Clippers here. Clippers are now 39-20. I don't have any of them projected to be out, but would it surprise me? Zubac just plays 19 minutes. You have Daniel Tice there, who ended up playing 29 minutes against Minnesota. They were able to force him into more work. Paul George, 34 minutes. That's not the normal 38 you would probably see in that spot. Same thing with Harden, 34 minutes. So did a good job, played 10 guys deep in a spot. Well, 9 guys, excuse me. Had 9 guys that were active there for the Clippers. I know this is all analysis going towards them, but they're the defensive stalwarts, and they're the ones that we're looking at here trying to shut down Giannis. And again, I want Kawhi out there. I want Paul George out there at this current number. You might see it come down a little bit then to react to it. Overall, just not in love with Giannis here. Under 31.5 points, but it's the best available from this game here at the moment. Gonna wait closer to tip-off, though. Again, people love to bet them some overs. If this moves to 32.5, insta-click for me here, assuming standard -110, -115 business. OddsShopper, my friends, OS Premium Tools, Discord at Insider Access, $14.95 weekly, $49.95 monthly. What does that come with? Well, I talked about it a little bit briefly there, but you get that age, that timestamp of how good the bet is at that point in time. So you can see 33 minutes ago, 2 hours ago, the line hasn't moved yet. Maybe pay attention to see where it could potentially go, see what you can potentially do. Again, there's so much information on the site that is something you can talk through. And where could we possibly talk through that? Over in the Discord, my friends. Again, these are attached together now. $15 for the week, $49.95 monthly, saving yourself a little bit, but it gets a little bit better because if you want to try that, the Fantasy Optimizer, the Parlay Builder, everything we have over at OS with the tools in addition to the Discord, try out your first week for just $12 by using promo code Lindy, Lindy, 20% off. Expert picks, Discord, premium tools, everything we have there, $12 for your first week or $42 for your first month when you check out and use promo code Lindy at the link below. So check it out, friends. This is how you stay profitable, is utilizing the best tools in the marketplace to help you win more money long-term. That is over at OddsShopper. Continuing with the games we go. Talked a lot about Minnesota there on the lead up, considering they just got done playing the Clippers, but Minnesota going to be on a back-to-back here, taking on Portland. And my dear Lord Almighty, talked about Memphis having the worst roster. It's not that, well, this is pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Anthony Simons, pretty good basketball player, but then Chris Murray, I am going nuts watching this dude play basketball. If you've watched Chris Murray, he's not Keegan. Just gonna throw it out there. Brothers, same mother, same dad. I would rather start my little brother than Chris Murray in NBA. Ooh. It's not good. Chris Murray might be one of the worst basketball players that I've watched see a complete game the other night. Could not believe what I was witnessing. He was so hesitant to shoot. He is a top 10, I believe a top 10 pick from last year's draft. Was he not? Top 15. Producer Jacob, look it up. Whisper something in my ear here as I'm breaking this one down. But legitimately, played 39 minutes against Memphis. In 39 minutes, 2 points. 1 for 6 from the field. Didn't even look like he wanted to be there. 0 for 3 from the field.
23rd.
23rd pick in the draft last season. I mean, this has been brutality to watch. Now, Toumani Camara, he's pretty decent. That was fun to watch. He actually was out there trying 3 for 4 from 3 against Memphis. But again, they ended up winning the basketball game. So I'm assuming we still get Chris Murray starting and we just get this Simons, Murray, Camara, Walker, and Ayton lineup. Ayton, I doubt, is going to end up playing basketball here. So you're looking at Duop Reef potentially inserted into that starting lineup. But Matisse Thybulle is upgraded to questionable here for this one. Pay attention to news. But does news even matter when you're taking on Minnesota after losing yesterday? They are going to come out blazing here. Now, Rudy Gobert played 40 minutes. That was a lot of minutes for one Rudy Gobert. You saw Cat trim down to 34. Of course, you got the 21 minutes of Naz Reid. They ended up playing basically 9 guys. Jackson, I'm not going to count, but 9 total guys there in that spot. And so from a rotational standpoint, Gobert, Edwards at 37 minutes. I still think they're going to end up playing here on the back-to-back because Edwards plays through everything. I said this last week. He's basically Wolverine at this point. And if this game is played straight up, there's some Teddy KGB for the people, the real ones who know. Minnesota minus 14.5 is a play. I understand the double-digit apprehension. I understand some people don't love it. I bet this closes at 16.5. If Ayton's ruled out, it is going to close at 16.5. And I think it's more unlikely that Ayton misses out on the game, considering he's questionable, than Rudy Gobert, who played 40 freaking minutes against the Clippers. So friends, Minnesota minus 14.5. This almost went to a lock category, but the next game is phenomenal. If you can bet it early, let's talk about it. This one it's not a headache, actually. We have Washington plus 10 taking on Utah, and sometimes I get a little, worked up from time to time. Sometimes it's animated for the camera. Sometimes it's whatever. Overall, though, you get a piece of news like this early, and these opening lines are not good. Lauri Markkanen has been ruled out for the Utah Jazz. I repeat, Lauri Markkanen in Utah will not be playing basketball. Now, this team has been much better here at home than on the road this season. They finally get back here, and, well, I have Bryce Sensabaugh as the guy who makes sense to potentially start here in this spot. They want Jordan Clarkson coming off the bench. I doubt THT is somebody that they end up inserting into that starting lineup. So right now, I have George Sexton, Sensabaugh, Taylor Hendricks, who's been starting for a while now, and John Collins at the 5. Walker Kessler's been out here, last game, and he's going to be out here again for this one. But Lauri Markkanen being out had some interesting rates show up for me here from the Utah side compared to what some of these opening numbers are. And there's some assumptions you have to make as far as like where the usage can go when you're talking about Sexton Clarkson and Keontae George. But there's no doubt that Keontae George is going to play the lion's share of minutes compared to the other two based on what we've seen here in recent games. Since Keontae George got inserted into the starting lineup, we've seen as much as 43 minutes there last time out against Miami. We've seen Orlando, Atlanta. The usage is on the come up. Some of these rates, friends, are just continuing to ascend here. And again, Bryce Sensabaugh, he's not going to be anything in terms of like usage whatsoever. He has a 19.3% usage, but that is a drastic difference from Lauri Markkanen at 25%. The main two guys he's going to compete with for shots are Jordan Clarkson and Colin Sexton. But I repeat, his minutes are so much more secure as a rookie, taking on Washington, who is number 1 in pace in the entire association here this season. It makes all the sense in the land to pounce. And I mean pounce on the over of 15.5 points for him. But that's not all, my friends. It gets better. I feel like I'm in an infomercial, but that's not all. You also get I almost said egg baker. That's a dumb. And my brain goes places that that makes no sense. But let's talk through why Deni Avdija is going to be paired with him. Or again, you can play these as individual plays. They're best played at Bet365 here. The best available lines are each there at minus 115 here. But Deni Avdija over 13.5 points, friends. This is too good to believe. Now, you get Bilal Coulibaly back into the mix there. But Deni Avdija has been playing 32, 34 games here. Or 30, that'd be a lot of games. Well, he's played them anyways. But 32 or 34 minutes here against Utah. And it's not like Utah's slackers themselves in the pace department. 100.7 possessions per 48 minutes. Anybody who's coming in for Lauri Markkanen, whether that's Sensabaugh or whomever else, is not going to be as good of a defender. It is just making way too much sense to be invested in these points props. I think this is a great opportunity for you to jump in and put together some single game parlays that earlier in the day, like we're talking night before Sunday night or early, if you can beat some of these lines, I think this game with a 245.5 total is not correct to have Keontae and Denny, two of the guys I expect to lead their teams or be close to it in terms of usage. Sure, Poole's starting to shoot more. Sure, we're still going to see Kyle Kuzma be the number one in that offense constantly, but this is basically your quote-unquote third option from both of these teams. And I'm obsessed with the minutes solidification here. Minutes solidification. We're going to end on that. Denny Avdia over 13.5 points. Keontae George over 15.5 points. Both of them my favorite plays on the board leading into Monday. Fire them up in bulk. And fire this one up too, friends. Bet 5, get 150 in bonus bets now. Bet 365 is only available in 9 states right now, that being Arizona, the newest of them, Colorado, New Jersey, Indiana, Iowa, Kentucky, Ohio, Virginia, and Louisiana. But guess what? If you're in one of those 9 states, you bet $5 at the link below, you get $150 in bonus bets. Period. End of story. No strings attached. I did it myself when I was in New Jersey a couple months ago. This is the spot. This is the spot that you want to be putting those Denny and Keontae George props together. This is the absolute spot. So if you bet $5 on it, you're going to get $150 in bonus bets. If you bet $5 on something else, as soon as it settles, you could fire that up in the evening window because, again, Washington, Utah is going to be a shootout. I looked at the total. I think it should be closer to 250. But, again, my best plays, the locks are those props. Check those out over at Bet365 at the link below. Hey, you want to put 20 bucks on them? A nice little parlay? Awesome. Get $150 in bonus bets just for checking it out. Again, Arizona, the newest of the states, but it is all over the place in Colorado, New Jersey, Indiana, Iowa, Kentucky, Ohio, Virginia, and Louisiana. Only for 21 and over. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. Back to the picks we go. You're expecting a little bit of a come down after the locks. Again, I am obsessed with that game environment. No Lauri Markkanen, those numbers need to move, specifically the Keontae George one. That is my favorite of them. But Chicago +7 here taking on Sacramento. 229.5 total. Not your neighborhood Sacramento Kings game because Sacramento, they're inept there on the defensive end. 116.5 adjusted defensive rating, 12th in pace. We've seen a number of their shootouts. Hasn't been as pronounced as it's been in years past. They definitely want to push the pace, and Chicago does not. The slowest team in the association is coming to visit. Actually, them and the Knicks tied 1-2 in some capacity, however you want to look at it. But I am a little bit interested. Same thing I talked about last week and tried to run this one back. And I fired it up already. Chicago, Nikola Vucevic starting alongside some Andre Drummond from time to time. Now, I don't think it ends up happening here in this spot because Alex Caruso, if he's playing, I think it makes more sense for them to not go to the large starting lineup, considering it's Keegan Murray playing the 4 in that capacity. But still think Vooch is a little bit overestimated here by the marketplace. 33.5 PRA. I said it, the Sacramento Kings, they're not pushing the pace as much as they had this season. Again, 12th in pace. Last season, you're talking about them being just close to that 11th, but so much worse on the defensive end and so much more efficient on the offensive end. This feels like a spot where Sacramento can slow it down a little bit more. You have De'Aaron Fox, who's questionable. I do expect him to play here after the day off here on Sunday. But overall, friends, Vooch playing more minutes alongside playing alongside Drummond at times. And then Domantas Sabonis is a really good rebounding big. And we haven't seen a ton of those like we saw the Mobley, the Jared Allen situation where they started together there. And that was, well, he still smashed. I like getting underneath the 33.5 PRA right from the get-go. This is sitting at -110. That's just your standard number, and I like it. I like it a lot. Sorry if Caruso... Well, if Caruso doesn't play, this probably looks better because there's an outside chance Drummond gets the start. And the last game of the night here, Oklahoma City, they will be on a back-to-back. They have just started here going up against Phoenix. Taking on the Lakers here, 240.5 total. The main thing you're always paying attention to with the Lakers, LeBron James, the questionable tag, he just went over 40,000. I expect him to play fully here. And if you're going to play Oklahoma City, you might as well play them on the tail end of a back-to-back where they take on Phoenix and then take on the Lakers. pretty easy spot to kind of find some opportunity for Anthony Davis and LeBron James to possibly go after OKC here on tired legs, but still going to lean the Oklahoma City side. Everything in terms of adjusted net rating leads towards Oklahoma City being the best team in the West. Now, I say that as a scorned Minnesota fan, and obviously the Clippers have been playing really good ball. Hell, the Pelicans have ascended to 6th in adjusted defensive rating, and Denver not far behind there at 5th. Minnesota, I can't even talk about them. They make me sad. But Oklahoma City, friends, +7 adjusted net rating going up against the Los Angeles Lakers here, way down at 19th. And they have, Darvin Ham is such a debilitating basketball coach. He is not good. He doesn't know how to close with guys. And what are we doing? Spencer Dinwiddie, why is he playing 24, 26 minutes a night? I thought he was going to be a guy who played like a rotation or two, and you just ramp the minutes up to Russell to 38 every single night, 40 minutes a night. Austin Reeves, 36, 40 a night. Some of these minutes just don't make sense. Spencer Dinwiddie is not a rotational piece here now at this point in time, at this point in his career. But again, it's a back-to-back. We attacked back-to-backs very successfully last week. Don't really feel like betting on Oklahoma City on their own back-to-back here. And that does it for another edition of Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. So you know what to do. Go to that comment section below. Let me know that we're going to have a good week. Hey. Hey. Yeah, we're going to have another good week, and yeah. Thank you, producer Jacob. So good to see you, my friend. We're going to have a great week. I'm excited to run it back. Again, just seeing the board well. Stay humble. Stay humble. Unless you sweep the board again like on Monday and Tuesday, and then we're going to just let it rip. Yes! Jack Nicholson .gif. Anyway, let's get ourselves the heck up out of here. Check out Bet365. Check out Odd Chopper down below. Great stuff, friends. Excited to see you the rest of the week here. Oh, look at that. Under 25 minutes. Go me. I'm Eric Lindquist. Best of luck in the NBA streets on Monday.